In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to use Follow Up Boss like an absolute pro. Now, just imagine for a second, it's 9 a.m., you're starting your day. What do most of us do? We grab some pad on our desk with a list of names and we start calling the same 10 people that we called yesterday, our pipeline, the people that we've been chasing down who are active potential sellers or buyers, and we're trying to make progress. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to use Follow Up Boss like a pro so that predictably, you know exactly what to do. When the day starts, you know who to be calling, who to be following up with. We wanna make sure by the end of this video that you never let someone fall through the cracks again. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time, my name's Nicolle. In this channel, I'm a real estate agent / entrepreneur who's gonna teach you all the methods that I'm using to have won Rookie of the Year at EXP my first year, gone on to be also a top 50 individual salesperson my very first year in EXP. And I'm also gonna share how I generate close to $1 million worth of business. I'll probably do $1 million this year as an individual agent, and now I've been growing and adding new team members. So all this being said, let's jump right in. In this video, we're gonna be talking about Follow Up Boss. So here's what I'm actually gonna do. I'm gonna open up my screen here and I'm gonna share my Follow Up Boss with you and walk you through what my daily workflow looks like. And then if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna show you exactly how it is that you should get started once I've convinced you that this is probably the best thing for you to be using, which is getting ready for everything with Follow Up Boss, getting your contacts in there. I'll show you at the end exactly how to export everybody from your phone, put them in there, and get the ball rolling. But let's just start by jumping in and I'll show you how I use this. So over here on the screen, we are looking at my Follow Up Boss. You can see I've blurred out all the names and contacts, and you can see that we've got about 4,000 people in our Follow Up Boss. Now, the date of recording this is October the 5th, 2023. And at the time that I first got started, it was about 2 years ago to the day. So October 2021. And what I'm gonna be breaking down here is how I've gotten not only 4,000 people into my database, but how I keep track of everybody. So you can see we've got names, you can see, you know, in the last couple hours, we've got people coming in through here. And then you can see we've got stages. So number one, here's how I'm using Follow Up Boss. And I've spent thousands, probably like $10,000, $15,000 in just consulting with coaches, with having an actual consultant come in and set up Follow Up Boss, and I'm gonna give you all of it for free. So the very first thing is we use smart lists for everything. Now you can see at the top, the way Follow Up Boss is laid out is we have these lists, and these are smart lists because if I click on one of these lists here, you can see on the right there's filters. So this list is really simple. It's anyone who is in the stage that is either an active client or a pending deal. And this is number one on the list because it's just a good thing for me to be looking at, keeping track of who our active clients are, all right? Now, if I go over to new leads, no call attempts, this is where things actually start to get interesting. So number one is every day when I open up my Follow Up Boss, I want to make sure that I'm using my time when I'm doing sales time to go after the hottest people who have the most potential to convert, and the people that are the hottest are the ones who are leads, because I don't know, they might be ready to sell like right now. So what happens is when a new lead comes into my Follow Up Boss, they're all labeled leads. Every new contact that comes in is a lead until they get distributed to a different stage. Whether they're a lead, they might be hot, which means they're ready to transact sometime in the next 3 months. They might be warm, which is 3 to 6 months, or they're cold, which is 6+ months. All right, so these are the leads that are coming in. We can see right here, they're leads that haven't had a call attempt. So these are the people that I want to reach out to. Now you're seeing people from like 7, even 8 days ago that I haven't called. It's because some of them I'm having conversations with, or I'm actually texting them and engaging with them. But the goal is that this list every single day should be cleared to 0. Okay, so you're gonna go into Follow Up Boss and you're gonna clear out by calling these people. And the way it'll clear them out for you is it's a smart list. So if the last call is empty, meaning you haven't called them yet, then they'll live in this list for 14 days. And then you can see after 14 days, it'll move them out of this list into like essentially not contacted or unreached or cold people that are building up that we need to be contacting. Now, the next smart list is a list called new leads not reached daily. So if I open up one of these people and I go into, you know, this person right here, you can see I have tried calling them. Okay. You can even see their interests on the right. You can see we're tracking everything. We're tagging them. We know that this person actually unsubscribed. Never be fazed by someone who unsubscribes. I just want to look at you while I say that. Make sure you understand that just because someone unsubscribes doesn't mean you should give up on them. I'll even maybe later in this video show you some examples of people who unsubscribed only to become clients a few weeks later, or months later. So don't let that discourage you. Okay, now you can see though, my last communication was the 22nd of September. So I should be following up with this person, all right? This is someone that needs to be followed up with on the daily. And if I go back to people as well, you can see there's just a couple other people that I haven't followed up with that need to be followed up with every single day. And once I've called them 10 times over 10 days, they'll be moved from this list into essentially inactive cold people, all right? And then I'm gonna go through the rest of my smart list. So you can see the next smart list I have is people who are returning back to my website. I have integrated Follow Up Boss with my branded real estate website so that when someone inquires, when they reach out about a listing, if they go through the pay-per-click advertising that we're running, they get filtered into my Follow Up Boss CRM so that I can stay on top of them. And then you can see we've also got people that are hot weekly. So anyone that's hot on a weekly basis, I need to be touching them. We have a lot of hot people right now that I'm trying to turn over in our pipeline. And then you can see warm bi-weekly. We have a ton of warm people. So I'm trying to stay on top of moving all these people over. And it's really just these top 10 categories that you're working through every single day. And the goal is these first 4 need to be cleared out every day, and then you're spending the rest of your time checking in on the hot, warm, cold people, moving them forward and checking in on your sphere, all right? So at a really high level, step 1 is you can see that every day I don't wanna guess who I have to call. So I'm gonna start going through those first 4 lists, which are the absolute most important. These are the people that are number 1, brand new leads to the website, new leads that I haven't spoken with this day or tried to call this day, and then people that are visiting the website again and people that are hot. Those are the ones you want to be reaching out to every single day. The other important note is this: no one should remain a lead as soon as you have information on them. We want to move people out of the lead category as fast as possible. So if I go to one of my hot people here and I click into them, you can see now that this person is, if I scroll down a little bit, you can see all this communication. This is the beauty of Follow Up Boss. You can see all these phone calls, all the green phone calls, how many times we've called and contacted them. It's 21 calls, all right? So you can see there's been all these different calls, so that's important to be following up with them. You can see notes about who's unsubscribed, what the deal is. Again, it's all good. We stay on top of these people regardless. And then you can see the tags, but the goal is with these stages, we wanna move someone from a lead to either hot, warm, cold as quickly as possible, and we wanna be updating them. So this person here needs to be updated a little bit more as well, but it's just a great example of like labeling everything, keeping everything organized. And if I go over here to tags, you can see the details. They came in specifically from YouTube advertising. They're from this city, specific city. We also do things like adding a last name tag so that when it comes time for me to go to my sphere, I can go through the last names in a sequence that we've set up that I've stolen from another process here online. So that's the goal. Work through these first core 4 buckets, and then I'm gonna move over to my tasks. So once I click on tasks, you can see that I have some tasks today that I need to follow up on. Some of these overdue ones are, I actually share it with a media guy as well who uses it to remind himself of like reaching out for testimonial videos and some different things like that. But here's a great example of just right away making sure. The biggest mistake I see people doing with Follow Up Boss is they make everything a task, like a task to follow up with somebody, and they use that as their way to just follow up with people. And what happens is you end up with a million tasks. And if you have a million tasks, it's hard to tell which tasks are the most important ones. So by using your smart list to know who it is you just need to be getting back to, you separate tasks for only the most important, high quality things that you need to be doing, to make sure that everything doesn't look equally as important. We want our tasks to be a place where the most important follow-ups are visible at all times. The most important things like, hey, this is a really hot seller, reach back out to them. That's how we want to be using this list, all right? And you can see if I look at my future things coming up, you'll see I've got like, call this person about a step 1, like they're a really hot seller, get back in touch with them. Call our sellers 7 days after they're closing and follow up with them. Check in on this person and ask them how the search is going because I've now set them up on a search. All right, so these are some really essential ways that you can use smart lists from this category here, okay? And it's also easy to create new lists. You just add filters. All right, you can see my filters here. You can go ahead and steal them. We'll also give you guys downloads for all this. So you can just go in, rip off my follow-up boss, take all of it and run with it and implement it because it's absolutely the approach you want to take when you're trying to make sure that people don't slip through the cracks. Now, having said that, I'm going to show you somebody here who unsubscribed. Okay, so if I go all the way down, check this out. A year ago, September 8th, okay, this person unsubscribed immediately. They unsubscribed from my automatic communications, but they joined my mailing list. Now notice that they were getting my mail for a little while, and then all of a sudden, a couple months later in November, they actually started opening up my mail and clicking on everything and checking stuff out. And then all of a sudden they reach out and connect, and they said, hey, we're good to about $3 million. We're looking to buy. All right, pretty awesome. And this is somebody who, keep in mind, had unsubscribed right away. And to this day, I'm still trying to move them forward on finding the right place, because what they are looking for is very specific. But this enables me to keep track of them and nurture them for an entire year, right? If I go back to this person, you'll see for an entire year, they're being nurtured by our emails announcing our new listings, as well as a monthly newsletter that we do that goes out and keeps people updated on a monthly basis of just what our team's up to. So here's an example, right? I say, hey, this is, what's going on this month. This is what you're going to see in today's edition of the newsletter. And then I share, like, we're visiting Fort Lauderdale. Here's a market update. All right, I share a couple graphs. Then I go, look, here's our live and exclusive listings. All right, so we share a bunch of those, what we've sold in the last month. All right. And then a little detail around spring cleaning tips. And then like a little thing, come follow me on YouTube, a review. And then this just stays at the bottom every time, which is just the different local communities nearby. So that's it. Like, awesome email template. You can also go steal this template. We use MailChimp for all that, but this goes out once a month. It's really detailed, and it keeps people looped in to the point where when I call them, they like now know about my son. They'll ask me by his name, how he's doing. So really, really cool, and a great way to nurture people along. All right, and you guys are getting the look under the hood at a business that last year, like I mentioned, my first year, I did 750,000. This year, we're pretty much already at that amount, and we've got another quarter to try and wrap up some more deals. So very good, and the market's down by like 20%. So if you can plateau in a down market, then you've essentially grown by whatever the market's down by. So if the market's down by 20% and you stay the same, you essentially grew by 20%. All right. Now, we've talked through a bunch of these details. Here's a couple of the other things I'll dive into with Follow Up Boss today. So the other thing is your deal pipeline. I'm going to show you guys a little look inside my deal pipeline of all the people that we have in the back burner. You can see there's like 28 different people that are in the back burner, booking appointments coming up, listing appointments. So without me going too crazy into this and starting to show too much information, here's what I do want you to see. And by too much information, I mean like names and whatever else. But what I want you to notice is that we're very actively updating listing appointments that we have, trying to book appointments. So that's our little flow. And if I actually just go like this really quick and I go into the sellers, so we just have sellers and buyers in terms of the pipelines. And then if I scroll through these, you can see that this is our flow. So people who are back burner, booking appointments, actually now booked an appointment and waiting for it to come up, to be determined after an appointment, buying first, exclusive, active, then conditional, pending, close. This is all transaction side, or people that we lost, okay, in terms of deals. So really good way for us to keep track of everything. And then on the buying side, it's very similar. Back burner, appointment stage, people who need to sell first, people who are pre-approval stage, people who we set up on a search in a matrix, and now we're out on showings. Then we have conditional offers, pending, closed, lost. All right. So another great way for us to just keep track of everything. Now, if I go into one of these individuals here, okay, so I click into the client, you can see you can even set a price. I just set a ballpark price of roughly what they'll probably be purchasing for and what my likely commission is. And then if I click into this person, you can see again, we're keeping track of everything with notes. We're also keeping track of things like if there's a really important conversation that I have, like a phone call like this actually should be starred, because I want to be able to, number one, there should be more notes actually with this call. But number two is that I want to be able to open up a contact, click on starred, and see what the most important details are related to that client. So even if I go back to the name I was mentioning earlier, you can see there's 2 stars here of the conversation and what's going on. And then you can see my deals with them, all right, on the buy side, what we're looking at buying. And then we've got automations and all kinds of other stuff that I won't even get into today. I just want to, at a high level, show you how to use Follow Up Boss to be a big producer. Once I go into things like our actual automations, you can see we've got all these different automations that we've installed, and you can see all the different times that these automations have run. And these are email campaigns that nurture people over extended periods of time, whether they're buyers, sellers, whether they're going back to the website, whether they're in our sphere, etc. All right. Now, next is this admin section. So here's the other reason I love Follow Up Boss is number one, and again, it doesn't have to be Follow Up Boss for you, but at the end of the day, what you really want to do is the best CRM for you is the one that you're actually going to use. So if that's some other CRM that you're already using and you're actively using it, that's awesome. But if you're not using it, then I'd highly recommend you pick one that you're going to use. For me, that's Follow Up Boss here. I actually really like using it because it's very intuitive, it's simple. Now I'm familiar with it, and I'd recommend you just use the thing that works for you. All right, so once we're in the admin panel, the next thing is the most important thing you can do is actually be tracking how many calls you're making, how many appointments you're getting, and do all of that right here from Follow Up Boss. So I can click on the reporting section at the top. I can click on agent activity. I can look at me and I can go, cool. You know, over the last month or this month, which we're just 5 days into, but let's go the last 30 days, you can see I've generated 84 leads. Okay, it's a lot of leads in a month. You can see I've made 377 calls. Okay, that number also should be higher. And then, and I'm gonna make excuses, but I've got a 3-month-old son right now. So I'm learning to juggle life in a new way while also bringing on new agents so we can accommodate all the business that we have. And then you can see, you know, speed to action, the number of appointments that are being set, all of that stuff. So really helpful for you to keep track and have metrics. And I go over in other videos how we track everything and how we keep track of things. Now, the last thing I'll say is that this all syncs with my Google Calendar. So I live in here, I live in my inbox, I have my conversations here with people. You can see even if I go to inbox, you can see we're having conversations in here, all right? So that's how we keep track of, you know, the dialogues that we're having with people, etc. And then what I'm doing from here is also making all my phone calls and any appointments that get booked in my calendar through my Gmail calendar that I have set up, it all syncs up with Follow Up Boss. And that is at a really high level how you should be using Follow Up Boss. So I'll just recap. Everyone, when they come in as a lead, you want to get to them as fast as possible. Then you want to try and move them through to the correct stage. Are they hot? Are they warm? Are they cold? Do you put them in the trash if they've said like, please never contact me again? I will put people in the trash at that point. But the reason I don't just delete them is because I want to know who they are in case they happen to call, which also has happened. And then the next thing is I want to use Smart List to make who I need to call when really easy, so that my tasks area Follow Up Boss is dedicated to only the most important, highest level quality of who I need to be reaching out to. All my appointments are going to be synced in here. That's going to allow me to track everything. It's going to track how many calls I'm making, because every call, every contact, I actually text people through Follow Up Boss. I have the app on my phone. That's how all communication happens. So you can see I'm really running our business when it comes to every single contact and touch point. I'm running it through Follow Up Boss. I've got things like birthdays in there. I've got things like reminders like you saw to call people after closing. Everything is really just organized by Follow Up Boss because we're busy. We're running around. I don't want to have to think about who I need to get in touch with and remember all that, because if I do that, it either means that I'm going to drive myself crazy or I'm probably running a really small business where it's easy to remember that. I want to run a big business where I've got, you know, everybody that I need to keep track of, and I just need to make my 30, 40 calls a day because I'm like on top of it. All right. So last couple details here that I want to share. So I told you that if you stuck around, I was going to share how you can get started. Here is how you get started with Follow Up Boss. This is your 3-day action plan. So if you were to go and get Follow Up Boss today, here's exactly what you do. Number one, you're gonna go to your phone and you're gonna open up your contacts, all right? And from your contacts, what you're gonna do is you're gonna highlight everybody. Now I'm gonna highlight this for an iPhone. You can figure this out for whatever phone you have, all right? But for my iPhone here, I'm gonna open up contacts. I'm gonna start by making sure that all my phone contacts are synced with my iCloud or all contacts. Then I'm gonna go in here on my computer. I'm gonna right click on all of them and I'm gonna click Export vCard. Once I've exported that vCard, I'm gonna label it, just to show you really quick. I'm gonna give it a name. So if I go like this, I'm gonna give it a name like Jake iPhone October 5th, 2023, and I would go import like that, okay? So that's how I'd label it, Jake iPhone import, October 5th, 2023, and I just save it to my desktop, all right? Now, I've already saved these people to show you for this video today. So then what I would do is I'm gonna go over and I'm actually going to open up Google. You're gonna go to contacts Google, contacts.google.com. If you don't have a Google account, I highly recommend you get one. Sync up your custom email or whatever you've got going for real estate with a Gmail account. And there's a couple ways, other tutorials you can watch on how to sync all of that up. But my custom email is synced up with Google so that my calendars and everything is run through Google, and it all syncs wonderfully with Follow Up Boss and a ton of other software. Then I'm gonna click create a contact, and I'm gonna go create multiple contacts. And then you can see down at the bottom, it says, do you have a CSV file or a V card? I'm gonna click import contacts, and then I'm gonna click select a file, and I'm gonna go to my desktop here, and I'm gonna click on Jake iPhone import October 5th. All right, now you can see here it says select a V card that's under 20 megabytes. So really simple, I'm gonna go back to my contacts, I'm gonna select probably something like half of them. All right, so I'm gonna go to somewhere around the halfway midpoint, do the same thing. I'm gonna go export V card, and I'll go like this. I'll go Jake iPhone import, and I'm calling it an import because I'm gonna import it into Follow Up Boss after this and just steal this name from here, October 5th, 2023. And to make it even simpler, I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go 1, all right? And I'm gonna save it to my desktop. Okay, good. Now, I would then go from the name that I had selected here, and I'm gonna go down the bottom, and I'm gonna highlight all those people, and then I'm gonna go export V card, and then I'll, should have named it something else. So I'm gonna go to Jake iPhone import October 5th, 2023. All right, now if I go back to Google Contacts, I should be able to click select file, number 1, all right, import it. And I'll just do this one for now. I'll let you guys do the rest later. But the reason I'm doing this into Google Contacts is because I need to create a CSV file to add to Follow Up Boss here. It's not gonna let me import. And then in Follow Up Boss, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to admin, and I'm gonna click on import in admin. And then we're gonna go to step 1, which is import your contacts. And then we're gonna create this here in a second with Google. So once all these are imported, I'm gonna export it as a CSV file. All right, so you can see there's a bunch of names here. Okay, it's got a bunch of numbers. So for the sake of privacy right now, I'm gonna probably just click out of that. And what I would do then is I would download all those into a CSV file, and then I'm gonna upload them here to Follow Up Boss. Now, here's the important thing. When you upload some people to Follow Up Boss, what's gonna happen is it's gonna ask you to tag them. Just make sure that you tag them something like what I just explained. Jake, iPhone import, add the date to it, and then all of your clients, if I go back to people here and I go all people, all right, all people is just the, there's no smart list, there's no filters. So I'm gonna go, let's add a filter, let's go tags, and let's go like this, check this out. iPhone import, this looks like August 10th, 2021, all right? If I click on that, you can see before I even got licensed, I started adding everybody to this. And these were all the people that were in my phone. Then what I did, and you can see there's 500 people here. What I did was I went through, I probably had 1,100 people, and I went through and erased all the people who weren't a match with what it is that I was trying to do at that time in my business. So I went out of my way to eliminate people that weren't geographically relevant. I eliminated anybody that I didn't think I was gonna do business with. And I really narrowed it down to just the right core people that I knew I'd be calling to check in on with my sphere. And I've got other videos where I share my kind of 30-day game plan of the very first thing you should do. But to get started with Follow Up Boss today, this is what I want you to do. Import everybody in your phone, your contact list, over to Follow Up Boss, label them, go through and label them if you already have past clients. Like I have $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year producers reaching out to me going, Jake, explain Follow Up Boss. So this is how I'm using it, making sure that everything's set up in there. Obviously we can get into like all the automations another time of how I use all that stuff. But the truth is the most powerful thing that I do is call people regularly. Okay, then I send out that monthly newsletter that I just showed you. I send out an email that shows our active listings, which is a really simple email that says, we just listed this awesome property. Here's the details, the bedroom count, the bathroom count, like bullet points. And then it says, click on this thumbnail video here to watch me tour through the property. And that's it. So I send out my monthly newsletter email. I send out that email that I just described for our new listings. Then I make phone calls. Those 3 things are the bulk of the heavy lifting. All this other automation stuff, it helps, but a lot of people don't love the generic automation that's out there. Like the best thing you can do is actually just send regular newsletters that add value, show people you're listing homes, and if you don't have that piece, write more newsletters, give more personalized updates that are mass updates to your group. And then in the meantime, you can make phone calls, get in touch with people, pick up the phone. If you don't like the phone, you're gonna be allergic to real estate. Tons of people are gonna be calling you. While I'm sitting here today, I've probably got 4 missed calls shooting this video. So pick up the phone and call people, okay? Now, the other main detail is that you can text and follow up boss. If you're more comfortable texting, you can use it to text people. Just make the touch points. Get in touch with people, provide value. You're gonna be amazed how a resource like what we talked about today will revolutionize how you run your business, and I'm so excited to hear from you guys. So, hey, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a huge favor. I want you to share this video with somebody that you know is gonna get tons of value like you did today from this, and help them out. Give them the benefit of going, hey, go follow along this video, and it would mean the world to me. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Jake Nicolle signing out. Cheers.